Hello Eurovision friends, thank you so much for coming to my channel Eurovision Histories. Today in this video I want to talk about my top 9 of the Norwegian National Final for Eurovision 2029, and then later on in the video I will also try to more objectively predict or tell you who I think Norway should send to Eurovision 2024 to have the best chance to do well. The national final, of course, is this Saturday, and in the last couple of years Norway has sent very gimmicky songs to Eurovision, pop songs like the Wolves or also the Angel Wings. And from what I've seen, we also have a few of those songs in this selection. So let's get right to it. Here is my top 9 from Norway. Now, my 9th place is Erika, Norwich, and Robo Rob, her 3-meter high only friend, if I understand the lyrics correctly, and the lyrics are terrible. Just start with that. I don't even know where to begin with this. It's kind of catchy, very catchy in a 90s sort of way, but also in a please stop kind of way. I don't want this in my head. And also it kind of reminds me of an Aqua song, like the Barbie song by Aqua, but it's not as good as that song. It tries to replicate that whole thing, but I don't know. It kind of tries to make an argument about AI, I guess, but it doesn't really get there. She kind of thinks that he's her only friend, which is kind of terrible. The staging is quite memorable, but that's the only positive thing I can say about this. The vocals were really, really off. And if you know that Norway has allowed auto-tune in their national final, I don't even want to imagine how this would sound in Eurovision. So please, Norway, do not send this. And just to say also, the HOD of Norway has been criticizing the juries a lot and wants to lower their impact in the contest. But if you send something like this, you have to expect a very low jury score. So please, Norway, do not send this song. I can't deal with it. Then in 8th place is GOTHMINISTER. When I first saw the songs, I thought, oh, something different. This is going to be interesting. His voice kind of reminds me of Lord of the Lost in a way, but the song is more scooter with a metal edge. And his voice also reminds me of the German band Unheilig, which is good, and his voice is a good part. I think the staging is very cheesy and camp, which can be a good thing, I guess, but I also don't really like his outfit. Seems a bit cheap, like they just cut it out of foam board or something. I don't know. I can't get into the song. As you can see, the song itself is just way too repetitive for me, and I don't really like it. It gets better when the woman comes out at the end and her voice is added to the mix, but overall, it's not my cup of tea. Then in 7th place, I have Annprincess. I like the choreography in this. I think it's really impactful. It helps you understand the story of the song. She sings about her demons and the roof is coming off. We have to be quick. I think a feeling that we can kind of relate to in these times. She has good vocals. The problem with this is the song. It is just so incredibly generic and doesn't have anything that really keeps me interested. That's why it's number 7. Number 6, I have Ingrid Jasmin with a song in Norwegian, which is a big, big plus. It has kind of oriental sounds, but also a Nordic medieval feel. I like that a lot. However, then there's the dance break, which is kind of And then in the song, there's not that much happening. Like, there are not many words. There's just not a lot happening that keeps me interested, unfortunately. And that's why it's number 6. In 5th place, I have Keiino. This might be quite controversial because they're a big fan favorite, obviously. Their song in 2019 wasn't my cup of tea when it was selected, but I have grown to like it quite a lot because I like the contrast between her pop voice and his pop voice and the yoik singing and this camp cool thing that is going on in this song. The problem here is that it's all pop. The yoik singer kind of raps in this, but it's just a normal pop song. It's quite catchy. But if you know me, Dam Digi Da in the lyrics just doesn't do it for me, and that's why I cannot get into the song. I'm also not sure about the staging. You basically see her for most of the performance, and then the other two just come out later on. I think it would be nicer to have them all on stage together. And so, yeah, I can't really get into this. Sorry, Keiino. Then we have another former Eurovision artist, Margaret Berger with Oblivion. I really like the bass beat in this. It's really cool and current. I also like the stylishness that the performance has. Her voice obviously is very good, and there's this cool, distant feeling that you also had in her other entry. But I think the song is just too generic. The chorus with the ooh just going up doesn't do it for me, and so that's why it's number 4. But I do like the feel of the song, but not the song itself, sorry to say. Now in third place, I have MIIA with Green Lights, because the song is a bit less generic than the pop songs we have already seen. It creates an atmosphere. I love the soaring voice as well. I like how the beat comes in and disappears again and gives the song a very intriguing dynamic, and you can follow the song and it keeps you interested as well. But I also think that a few more things could have happened in the song, like a bit more of a climax. And also on stage, she's kind of lacking a staging. I do like this slightly weird choreography that she does, and also the green lights, which makes sense. But maybe adding a bit more staging would make it a bit more interesting. And so it is not my favorite, but it's a good performance, and she also has a very good voice, I have to say. Then in second place, I have Gorte with Ulvehaven. Now, if you know me, this isn't usually my sort of song, but in this selection, I really think it's one of the better ones. I cannot say that there is not enough happening on stage, because there's a lot happening on stage. Frantic, light effects, strobe effects, lots of soaring vocals, musicians really loving their instruments. And for a song like this, you need a performance like this. And if you like this sort of thing, you will love it. I think if you don't like this sort of thing, you will hate it. For me personally, to make it my number 1, this is just a bit too much, especially when I watch the performance. When I listen to this song, it's okay. But with the performance, it is just sensory overload a little bit, a tiny bit too much for me. But what I love are the lyrics, which are a medieval ballad from 1,000 years ago. I read that they have to change the lyrics now for the final because it doesn't comply with Eurovision rules, which is a bit strange to me that they didn't tell them that before. But it might be a good sign that they are actually on the way to winning this, because otherwise, if they knew that they barely made it to the final, maybe they wouldn't make a big deal of this. But this is, of course, a big disadvantage to have to learn new lyrics for a song like this. But yeah, I think they can do it, most certainly. So you already know my number 1. It is Dog Erik Oksvold and Anne Fagermo with Judge Tenderly of Me. My biggest problem with this song is this title, Judge Tenderly of Me, sounds like incorrect English to me, but I'm not a native speaker. Maybe I'm wrong. Please let me know in the comments, because it's kind of irking me that they don't sing Judge Me Tenderly instead of Judge Tenderly of Me. Or is that kind of biblical English or something? I don't get it. I don't know. I like his voice, but her voice is outstanding, amazing. She has such an interesting tone to her voice. I kind of want her to do it alone, actually. But when they sing together, the harmonies are also very nice. It has a very good and understated staging. A song like that needs it. They're kind of trying with the camera angles to be the new common linnets, which makes sense for a song like this. But there's also the small problem when I compare it to the common linnets, that they have added some instrumentation that is just not necessary. I think a song like this really works best when it's really stripped back, really subdued, and adding this instrumentation kind of gives you the impression, oh, something else is going to happen, and then it doesn't. And so the song is not really stripped back, but also not exciting. It's kind of in the middle, and that kind of gets on my nerves a little bit after a while, but it's still my number 1 because it is genre-wise just right up my alley. I also like the lyrics, except for the Judge Tenderly of Me. See, I can't even say it right. Judge Tenderly of Me part, which kind of takes me out of the song. Okay, so this is my subjective opinion. Let's go to the objective analysis. Who should Norway send to Eurovision to have a chance to do well? I kind of chose 3 out of this lineup, Gorte, Keiino, and Judge Tenderly of Me, because I think they have the best chance of doing well and of standing out in Eurovision. The other songs are either too generic and too boring to really stand out in Eurovision, or in the case of the robot song, are just plain bad. So let's look at these 3. Keiino, I think, can get a really, really good televote. They will definitely qualify from a semi-final, but I think they will struggle quite a bit with the juries, and they will not get as big a televote as they did last time, because I just think that the performance and the song were much better than the song we have now. And so I think a lower top 10 for them would be possible, which is for Norway kind of the standard. Then for GOTE, I think they might be the obvious choice to a lot of people, but we already have Ireland, we have Slovenia that have kind of similar vibes in their songs. And if we have a lot of songs like that in the same semifinal, it could actually struggle. I don't think they would struggle to qualify, but there might be a bit of a problem that there are too many similar songs in the final in the end. And Judge Tenderly of Me would have to get to the final. That might be a bit of an issue, but I think it's good enough to qualify from a televote only semifinal. And then in the final, I think it would get a lot of jury votes, because this is kind of the kind of song that the juries like. And so in the end, I'm not quite sure. I think I would go with GOTE, but all three of them would be an okay choice for Norway, I think. I don't think Norway has a winner this year anyway, so I think sending one of these would be fine. And GOTE might be the most out there choice and something different, and also something in Norwegian, which would be a nice change of pace for once. This is my opinion, my top 9, and who I think Norway should send to Eurovision. Let me know in the comments who your favorites are, who you think Norway should send to Eurovision to do well. And please subscribe to this channel. I do lots of ratings, rankings, predictions, so I hope to see you in one of my next videos. See you then, and bye-bye.